everyone. Hi everyone. Welcome to Dyson Dynamics. I'm your DM, host, and the lead editor at a local trashy romance publishing company. Joining here with me today are my underpaid ghostwriters, Mark, Sam, Muty, and Jason.
We're fine.
Get
We're
it
fine.
out of your systems.
It's cool. We're good.
Get it out of your systems.
We're good. We're good. Sorry.
Lol.
The four of you, along with what remains of the Aarakocra attachment sent out to protect you all, return to Kirsabal. That night, you fell asleep, all of you, heavily and deep, feeling unwatched for the first time in months. The feeling is light, but comes with this pervading sense of what's to come. When you all wake up, there's no music coming from the gramophone, and it's quiet inside the house, and it's like a shell blocking out the cacophony coming from outside. The terrafolk that have been taken prisoners, the terrafolk who surrendered themselves, and the terrafolk being brought in for summary execution are making quite a ruckus as they adjust to Kirsabal life. There's food waiting for you. Baked fish. It isn't quite salmon, and it isn't any other type of saltwater or freshwater fish that you all have become accustomed to seeing. They appear to be piranha-like, their teeth carved out, but the rest of their grotesque, ugly bodies left for you to look at. But there's a white coagulated sauce, and it's the nicest meal that any of you have looked at in a few fair weeks. Definitely a sharp turn from the watery soup that you all have been enjoying.
God damn it, cat. This is quite delicious. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning.
Hello.
Did everyone sleep as well as I did last night?
Fairly well.
Cool.
That's good. Does Soul still have that feeling on the back of his neck, or is that, like, gone now?
Gone.
Yeah. Soul looks very well rested for once, and he, like, sort of gives, like, a little bouncy smile kind of deal. Says, I wonder who made the food today. This is quite delicious. I might have to steal the recipe. Well, learn the recipe. Steal is kind of bad.
I don't know. I don't even know where they got this fish.
Well, the river.
I don't think I want to ask too many questions, all things considered.
Yeah, it's really actually. I'm wondering more how they caught it, not where they caught it.
Very carefully.
I would imagine.
I mean, they do have a abundance of turkeys. I mean, you put one turkey in, you get a lot more fish, I assume. You're muted, by the way, Jason. Mark, not Jason.
I'm
my mother.
literally singing the hokey pokey with "You're putting one turkey in." So sorry.
The door swings open, and Missionary enters. She's still clad in the fighting uniform she wore, and has clearly not taken it off since you all have gotten home. The paint sort of flaking round at her hairline, and she looks as tired as she did when you all first went to war. Trailing behind her is Tyrion and Artus. Tyrion evoking this aura of oppressed smugness, and will take a seat next to Jet and grab himself a helping of the fish. And Artis will slide in next to Koshak, and he's giving off a neutral emotion. He's being very careful with the way he interacts and handles things.
Artis or Tyrion?
Artis.
Okay.
Missionary sits down the tray of coffee and gets to work preparing a mug. And very casually, with the deliberation of someone who's clearly been rehearsing how carefully she says it, says, I hope that you all slept well. I wanted to ask all of you why you were not going to tell me about my mother. And then she'll look at Duvanath. And I would like to hear it from you first. I know that you were the one who led the bulk of the discussion.
Jet's going to instantly glare at Tyrion.
Tyrion is... he'll kind of move away from Jet and give a shrug of the shoulders.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Duvanath will sort of just shrug her shoulders slightly and say, mourning the death of a parent multiple times sucks pretty bad. Wouldn't necessarily wish that on anyone. So we were deciding if, for that reason.
Duvanath saying that seems to confuse her more than anything, and she was very visibly put off guard by that. She'll finish pouring the coffee into a mug down in front of Duvanath and pick up the rest of the tray and look over at Jet and Solidago. So why didn't you all tell me when you had the chance at breakfast?
Well, I wasn't at breakfast when you were there, but I can say that personally, I did want to tell you you were an adult, and this is information that you shouldn't be kept from, but it was not just my decision to make about it, and going against the group would have consequences.
But you've gone against the group before, Solidago. When you told
Exactly.
me in the workshop about Shago and my father, I know that wasn't made by the group.
Yes. And by me doing that, it left things a little bit uneasy. And I didn't want to do that again.
Okay. She'll take a second, adjust. Her shoulders relax. So it wasn't because I was an obstacle?
I'm not sure what you mean by that.
I'm not going to rephrase it.
You're our friend. Friends aren't obstacles.
Okay, she'll pick up the tray and leave.
Soul kind of looks back to everyone, kind of looking confused.
That was weird.
I think she meant obstacle in the fact that We felt if we told her, she would only get in the way.
Actually, not what we were thinking.
Well, it was a part of it. We were worried about what would happen to her. And that is kind of a way of getting in the way, I guess one could say.
Anyways, what does everyone have planned for the day?
I want to find out who made this dish, because it is delicious.
I'm probably just going to assist some in the gardens, maybe do some quick reading up on. I'll figure it out when I get there.
I also want to see if I can find some cook's utensils somewhere in town. I'm not looking forward to going back to eating jerky soup the entire way to Mesro again.
Yeah, well, I've always found that re-traveling the same area kind of makes the time go by a little quicker, so hopefully we'll...
In a
Hopefully-
fast manner, one would say.
hopefully it won't be as bad as it was last time, but good food would be nice.
Yes, quick travel is made better by...
offense yet.
What was that? Sorry,
Oh, I was saying no offense, Chet.
I've told you I've done better with my spell. I'm not just doing oatmeal anymore. But you all don't want to trust me. So.
we appreciate your efforts.
Obviously.
uh,
I've got to figure out how these work.
where'd you find those?
It looks like a crossbow.
No, it's they were Jabal's. I think they were on the Terraform King.
Yes. They're firearms, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Looks like a crossbow. He probably just pulled the trigger.
There's no string on this.
Artis will kind of lead in. He called them guns, Guns.
Right.
So not
What's
firearms.
GUNS stand for?
Those look like sticks.
Oh, I don't know. You have to ask him. We didn't talk.
Actually, that probably won't be happening.
I'm not doing that again. I don't want to hear the creepy voice. Thank you.
Actually, that's a good question.
No.
we recovered. I recovered some braids that were on the Terrafolk King's person. Do you happen to know what one should do with those? It didn't seem right to leave them on him.
Artis will kind of give you a confused look and gesture at himself, and you're asking me, the Cormyrian.
I would ask
Actually-
Majanari, but she stomped off.
If you tell her why I didn't ask her, say she glided. You can ask Echo.
That's actually a good idea. That's a good point. I should try to find her at some point in time today.
Go back to eating the fish.
We also had something that we were thinking about asking Nafir or telling Nafir, and I can't remember what it is.
I don't. What's she doing?
He's dancing.
Sorry.
Y'all ignore me. I'm not in the scene. Focus on your business.
Yeah.
We're on a We're on a schedule.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. She's a whiz. Um, I don't remember what it would be.
Well, I'll think about it. Maybe it'll come up.
Uh,
Jet's... Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Jet was gonna look at Tyrion and go, so besides telling her things that we asked you not to tell her, and it didn't matter anyways, where are those 2 items I asked you to identify, love?
Oh, they're under our bed.
Perfect. And Jet will get up and grab Tyrion's thigh and dig into it, like telling him he's pissed. I'm gonna go get that. I'm gonna go have a chat. I'll be back.
Yeah, sounds good.
And Jet will go get the items and go find Majinari.
Tyrion will lean back, then lean forward, his face turning red, and Artis will kind of chortle a little bit. Breakfast passes uneventful. The sound outside seems to quiet as orders slowly brought to Kirsabal. Jet, as you go to find Majinari, it's a little bit hard and then very easy to find her. All of Kirsabal's population is out gathering on the last safe places that can hold their weight, deliberating over the bodies at Firefinger, the attachment they left at Firefinger to watch over the eggs, and in general, just a lot of overlapping layered chatter about the future of Kirsabal. A lot of people are upset with the way Majinari has gone against Ashar's wishes for Kirsabal to remain a neutral party, and it seems that the majority of them don't care at this point. You find Majinari by trailing after her shrill, loud voice as she's commanding a group of Aarakocra to back away from a older-looking, weathered terrafolk that you distinctly remember fighting at the top of Firefinger with. And she's moving towards him with a authoritative pace, and her shoulders forward, very angry.
Jet will just stay back and watch.
A few Aarakocra, comfortable with you, sort of linger around you. A lot of them you recognize as Aarakocra who've been exceedingly nice to you after your talkings with Mistra. As Majinari approaches the elder terrafolk, she punches him under the pronunciated ribcage he has and starts kicking him when he collapses and performs a public beating on an elderly terrafolk.
Jet will... He'll grip onto the items a little bit tighter, but he's gonna respectfully wait, knowing this isn't his place.
She'll leave the terrafolk, making an announcement to all of the people gathered, telling them that if they are to remain united and bring Chult and Kirsabal to a brighter future, that they have to put aside their grievances and maintain respect if you can't maintain love for the people around you. And then she'll approach Jet, wiping her hands on the front of her clothes and kind of shoo off the Aarakocra that have gathered around him. Yes, Jet?
Just enjoying the show while I waited my turn.
No, I'm not going to publicly beat you.
I've been wondering if you were going to. But anyways. Did you have a few moments?
She'll kind of take a glance around. She'll motion at a distant figure and kind of do a few vague hand gestures and turn to him with a nod. Yeah, I've got time. Do you want to go for a walk or?
Sure, that'd be perfect. Less
All right.
ears.
Sounds good to me. I should start walking, expecting him to follow.
Jet will follow almost instantly, expecting her not to, and then announce when she's moving.
She maintains her quiet until the two of you get to the rough edges of the Kirsebal walkways, passing the Hugo, passing the shrine to Mistra and Uteo that you prayed at both times. Then she'll turn to you, all of her attention focused on you, and she seems more relaxed, more human. So what is it? Is it about Tyrion gabbing on you all?
Oh no, I fully expected that, and he's going to hear from me later, so I'm not worried.
Alright. Well, go easy, but I'm also biased in telling you to do that.
Interesting. You actually are biased towards Tyrion's health and not against it.
No, well, I'm going to be loyal and deferential to anybody who is willing to go against their boyfriend.
True. Makes sense. So I had 2 questions for you.
Okay.
And I more so because I've gotten this information already, and I'm just trying to see what we can do with it. And the first thing he'll do is present the mantle.
A look of recognition will pass over her face, but she struggles to kind of retain her emotions as usual.
Now, Tyrion already looked at this for us because it was found up on the top of the cliffside that we were at. It does not...
Right.
It's yours, obviously. I was wondering if there was anything that can be done from a distance if we do make it to a move.
Was that?
Mm-hmm. If it needs to be in that location, then that's understandable. It's just with Cole being considered the lightning caller, I was hoping from this distance at least, because obviously you have to stay here, you could provide a small storm for him so he can be a little bit more electrifying if we needed it.
She'll take a second. Shocking.
Jet will actually laugh because he did not expect that.
I've been trying it out, having a sense of humor. Tyrion thought it would help with my approachability.
It does.
That's another joke. She'll fold her hands in front of her, very much at ease with Jet. I don't think there is, but my mother was the one who always wore it, so I never got much time with it, and I'm definitely a lot more arcanely attuned than she is. All of her arcane understanding was innate, and she wasn't very adventurous.
Either way, this belongs to you, not us. And Jet will bow his head a little bit and offer it to her.
She'll take it with her fingers and very gently turn it over. The mantle of the Sun Queen. My great-grandmother, Queen Apaka, the last queen of Omu, was the one who made this. Her son, he hated rain, so she devised a way to control it so that when he went for walks, he could just go whenever he wanted.
A mother's love has
Thank
no
you.
bounds. Of course.
Yeah, Omu's full of it. I love stories like that.
I may have to study on that.
If we have more time before you leave, I wouldn't mind sharing some of my favorite stories with you.
I would very much like to sit and listen.
What's next?
So this one is a little bit creepy. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
Tyrion got a little nervous after he looked at this.
Okay.
And Jet's going to show her the platinum circlet with opals.
And she'll look at it and then kind of look around. Okay. Where?
Do you know where this belongs?
Oh. Yeah. Yeah. She'll cycle through a series of exaggerated expressions and then kind of hold her hand out. May I?
Of course, and Jet will offer it.
She'll take it immediately, stow it away, like in her shirt, and you can see the indent of it as she's talking.
Now that's not nice. You could have just asked and told me you were going to take it from me.
I had to make sure you're not going to try and take it. Do you
I don't know what it
understand? Well, yeah, of course. It's been in the safekeeping of the royal family since we left Omu.
Apparently not.
I'm going to hold you captive here. So, I don't think it was the time of troubles. I'd have to ask Artis to clear it up. But in the dawn of war, or in the war of dawn,
There was war, and this item is very powerful.
Yes, essentially when the gods and the primordials were fighting over who would control Toril, the primordials were winning until one of them betrayed their own, Uteo. In specific, he betrayed Demdar and trapped her in the mountain where Omu finds its home.
Okay.
She'll kind of turn her shirt so Jet can see the opals.
I'm not
and
going
lift
to
it up.
take it from you.
Just wait until I finish. We have 3 of the several opals needed to open the gate where Demdar is kept.
Okay.
These opals open the apocalypse.
Why would I want that?
Because Koashak is a part of that cult.
I'm not. And I had it. Ow,
But
my eye.
Koashak is your friend.
Okay.
Koashak can be very persuasive.
You realize I do see into people pretty well compared to most.
But yet you fell for Shaka's charms?
Listen.
I am. Both ears.
I'm still with Tyrion, and I'm not used to a person being that upfront, okay? And just for the record, I still didn't know till the night before he left, so
Which proves my point.
But he didn't ask for a friggin' item that's going to start the apocalypse. I'm oblivious to things about me.
What if he had asked for the item before he knew it had caused the apocalypse?
I don't know. It's still an item I wouldn't know what to do with. And if I saw that there was evil intent, then I would not have given it to him.
Alright, that's a fair point. She'll think for a second. Do the Wastrels want money for the circlet, at least?
I don't know.
Or...
I just wanted to ask you questions.
Oh.
Plus,
well, I mean, if they didn't ask for any.
No, not yet. But plus, so, kind of butchering that conversation, I figured I'd come talk to you.
I think he did well.
Well, you stormed off without saying anything.
She kind of flutter her eyelashes, not like in a flirtatious way, but like very confused, and then just kind of, yeah.
I swear I need to spend time to teach you how to.
I can talk to people very well. I'm very. She'll trail off and not finish a sentence.
That's just like giving her the look, like, really?
The clouds are nice.
They are.
Looks like rain tomorrow.
You probably know better than me. You know what? One of these times, I'm going to take you to Neverwinter. You're going to actually meet real people.
Are there not real people in Port Nyanzaru?
No, they're crazy people in Port Nyanzaru. They're crazy people in Neverwinter, and I think you would have fun.
Sure, that would be nice. Duvanis told me about the Neverwinter market, and
there is so much stuff. It is ridiculous.
Okay. Near Shoku Bay, there's this old resort. I didn't get a chance to check on it when I was nearby there, but they have mud baths. I should take you to one of those.
I've heard about those, but I think I've heard Neverwinter versions, so it might be different.
Probably.
Probably. There was one thing I wanted to say before I head off and let you put on your smile, be the ruler that you are, and I can make fun of you in front of everybody like I normally do, because I can.
I love it. I love diplomatic immunity.
See, you're getting better. That's a good face. I like it.
Thank you.
As much as I was making those comments to your mother, I think she might have known which way I swang on the tree. I did mean it about who you are.
What do you mean?
You have done amazing for what you have done here with no help. And I can honestly say with all the posh nobles that I've dealt with thumbs up their butts, you're the one I consider a best friend.
She leans forward and kind of punches him in the shoulder.
Ow.
But it's soft, and you barely feel it through your robes.
He still says it.
No, you didn't need to clarify on that. It was, nice. My mother had been spending a lot of time before you all came up. Just sort of dawning on me what type of person she was. Gave me something to talk about. It was nice and awkward in a nice way.
Well, I wanted to hand your things back. Apparently hand a world-ending item that I didn't know about that you were so afraid for. And just make sure you understand that I wasn't lying with those words, just the part about talking to my brother about marrying you.
Please don't talk to your brother about marrying me.
I won't.
Would hate that.
I won't, because I still have to talk to them about Tyrion. Because that's going to be interesting.
Well, he is now a courtier in my lovely court of Kirsabal. Just be light on the details.
What did you do?
Nothing. What? Every queen of Omu has had a jester. All right, he just
you
did
not make him a jester. You did not make.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
What did you really call him?
If Kirsabal had bells, I called him a jester to his face.
Did he laugh?
If I had Bell, well, obviously he laughed.
Does he
And then
think
he
it's
kept
real?
laughing until I'm not sure.
Oh God. You named him a jester without telling him that it's real.
I told him it was real. It's his fault for assuming I'm joking.
I'm going to have fun with this. Thank you.
Thank you. No, thank you. Just kind of hold up the mantle. Wow. Getting real. Huh, real. It's real. All of those poems about being a ruler, they always say that the crown is so heavy, but, I mean, it's only like a pound. So.
Magic does that to things.
Right. But I'm pretty sure it's a metaphor for the... I'll be seeing you, Jet. Jet. Before you leave.
Yes?
Friends?
The best of.
Cool. I'll be seeing you. Get out.
This is where I pray.
I've been praying there longer than you.
I've talked to both of them.
Okay.
So I feel
I was born there.
That's awkward. I probably sat where you fell on the ground. Yes, I broke her! I broke her!
She takes a second to come up with some retort, and then she just kind of doubles over and lets out this like dry exhale, and then she claps him on both shoulders and gives him a vigorous shake. Jet, you have no idea how much I'm gonna hate it when you leave.
Good thing I'm planning on coming back just for you, because I wouldn't come back for anything else.
She'll bump their foreheads together and take her leave.
Jet will bow his head as she leaves, deep, without her actually seeing, and then take his leave back to the group.
Holy shit! It's really awkward because they sit where like you fell out on the ground. What the fuck, Mark?
Sam, I can hear it every time you unmute yourself. The like Discord notif.
Oh heck! Oops! I didn't realize that you guys could hear that. That's annoying.
That's
Sorry.
the first time. Oh, that was amazing.
That was a really sweet scene. So, Hidalgo, you find yourself, for the first time in the several months that you've been in and around Kirsabal, in the kitchens. The kitchens are attached to the monastery and have been a repurposed crematorium. There's makeshift cabinets where bodies used to be held. There's jerky drying, and all of these manifested and repurposed and revamped ways. Very clever use to some of the more gruesome tools have been made.
Yeah, that's the word for it. Yes.
Artis is in high-waisted pants, a white button-up shirt made out of linen, and suspenders. And his hair is tied back into a high bun. He is flipping the Ring of Winter like a coin. Dragonbait is sitting in a corner, having heart palpitations every time Artis drops it.
He looks exactly like how Jason looks right now.
Yeah, he's literally making those expressions. Just, shit.
Dragon
Soul
Beast
picks it up and gives it back to him.
Oh, thanks. You feel an endless sweeping burning of ice. You hear the manifested chorus of 1,000 thanks, and he'll slip it back on.
How do you deal with that?
Deal with what?
I think my fingers have contact frostbite now. That's what frostbite is. Jeez.
Okay.
Sorry. Just surprised me is all. So Link sort of leans back from it this time. Anyways, do you know who happened to make the fish meal earlier today?
Yes, I did. That was me.
Oh.
It's a traditional Mesrin dish. We tended to go a little bit milder than our Chilton cousins because we were metropolitan.
Yes. It was quite delicious.
You'll be learning a Chilton dish imagined by a Mesron, imagined through a Cormyrean, and then I'll pass it on to you.
So it will be then imagined by a citizen of Baldur's Gate? I don't know what the Baldur's Gatean? Gator?
Baldurian.
Baldurian. Thank you,
yes,
Duvanet,
Baldurian.
for passing by.
No problem.
Do you think she saw me flipping the ring?
I don't know. She's very perceptive, but also not. But yes, I since we're going back on the road, I don't want to just eat trail rations the entire time, and since Chult is so full of food, I figure learning, well, things that are edible that can thus be made into food, at least slightly. And if you're willing to pass on some of those recipes, that you've gathered through your time here, I'd be grateful for them. I figure your tastes will suit the majority of the wastrels better than...
I'm Cormyrean, so maybe just Koashak.
True, that too.
I eat bloated snails and
That actually sounds delicious.
years ago, my daughter
I mean,
didn't
like, you
think
could
so.
some butter in there, it'd be good. But yes, and that is definitely all the reason why I came here to talk to you. I also wanted to maybe ask you about the ring and some processes that come with it.
Okay. He'll pull out a fish from one of the cabinets where they kept embalming fluid and slap it down on a board. The table that you're gathered around has very clearly been a observation table where they would keep bodies for observing processes. And he'll start with the process of deboning, deheaded, gutting it, so on and so forth. And as he does, he talks with his hands. So I'm a little bit fuzzy on the details. It was... Thank you. It was 13 something. Thank you, Dragonbait. I had read about the Ring of Winter in a diary by a previous adventurer, Dalmas Rayburton. After a terrible accident, he died, and I spent the rest of my life pursuing it. Ran into a lot of Centarm agents. I was even captured by the lead Centarm guy. I couldn't remember his name for the life of me. But I was held in his dungeons for a little bit. I escaped using my charms and also lockpicking that I learned from my father. And I stole his personal notebook that I later used for mine and later gave to Rosnacy. And then I followed the Ring of Winter all the way to Chult, etc., etc. And then I put on the ring and zip zap zoopity doop. Here I am.
That's very fascinating. You should write a book.
Well, I'm sure if you've read the Harper propaganda, you might have read the Ring of Winter by Jamais. Can't remember his
Salvatore?
last name. No, Crefeu, something like that.
That I haven't, but I'll have to look into it. I don't know.
I have a copy.
But
He pulls out a copy
oh,
of a
thank
paperback
you.
novel.
Oh, that would be delightful. I like having new things to read on the road. Thank you. He
Do
checks
you want me to
and
sign it?
he you know what? That'd be hilarious. Go ahead.
He'll take it, flip it open, sign it, and then he'll turn to the back page and open it, and you can see a elegant scrawl that devours the bottom half of the page, and it very clearly says Rosnacy. I also got him to sign it. He's in it,
Oh.
and it has a very interesting caricature of him that he appreciates.
Interesting. Sol takes it and looks at the back to see what that scroll looks like, and then puts it away. I appreciate it. It's nice learning new things. But so you've been around a lot, like a long time, right?
110 years. I think I'm 100 and... Dragonbait, how old am I? He said I'm nicely aged. Like a good coffee or a good wine. Which means he doesn't remember.
And from what little I know about the Ring of Winter, that's because of that?
Yes. The ring serves me at my current age.
Was that a difficult choice?
A difficult choice? No. I'm sorry, give me 1 second. Brother Tenzin, the candles are going out. Give me a moment, I'll be right back.
Oh, I'll go help with those.
So that little tidbit of information was super interesting for some galaxy brain shit I've got going on. So Rosny has Manchun's notebook, is what. That's fucking pretty big because Manchun is like not really a lich. He's kind of like lich adjacent.
Demi-lich.
Not really demi-lich, like more like he's like an archmage, but like instead of going the full lichdom thing, he does the like multiple clones of himself, Emperor Palpatine shit.
So he's pulling at clocks.
Yeah, and so like every time one of his clones dies, his clone body dies, he goes into the next clone body and starts all over again. But what's really interesting is that sometimes random consciousnesses or other mages' consciousnesses will find his clones scattered throughout the planes. So there's like multiple Manchuns, and this has been happening to such a degree over the time period of the Forgotten Realms and Toril and stuff like that, that we don't even know if the current Manchun who's like leading up to Zentharum and all that shit is actually the real Manchun, or if there's like some other Manchun. It's all
it's Manchuns all the way down.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Which is interesting because we know that Rosny, in some way, shape, or form, came into contact with an actual lich, in the way of Horned Man. So that would
Personally,
be,
Hornman is a lich.
well, I mean,
Yeah, we can
burning
assume.
ember eyes and a horrible like undead
Yeah.
visage. I'm gonna.
Yeah, we can assume.
Yeah. But so because we know that Rosny has Manchun's notebook, that means that's how he could potentially have reached out to Hornman in the first fucking place. Because
Potentially.
Manchun is a super powerful fucking wizard.
Yes, Yvonne, this is all very interesting.
I filled time while you said goodnight to your dad by fucking galaxy braining all over the place. I'll leave now.
Thank you, Yvonne,
so
for
this
coming
is
by.
Yeah, Devon, thank you for keeping it comfortable. We'll slide back into place. A slight OOC moment. So Dad's hugging me goodnight. We're talking about he's like, I don't even give you time to finish a thought, blah blah blah. And then I hear a lightsaber sounding up. I freak out. I pull away from him. I'm like on alert mode, and I turn, and my sister's bedroom is down the hall from mine, and all I see is a shapeless blob and my sister illuminated by a lightsaber. And then my dad powers up his, and they start fighting. And they had planned it. And they were signaling about it behind my back.
That's so
they start
great.
fighting.
Yeah, it was like...
God, that's a headbanger song. Anyways, I think I've figured out the candle flickering issue. Wind.
Yeah, I had to put in get someone to redo some of the enchantments.
Lanterns, I mean, you'd think they would work better, right?
Huh? No, they're just baubles with light permanently enchanted on them.
Oh, yeah, that weird. I hadn't seen that before I came to Chult. It was very weird earlier on in our adventures. And sorry, that's out of context.
No, it's fine. Orvex put them in, actually. The great person aside from everything else.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, that's how they are. But so what were we talking about? The Ring of Winter and the fact that you are immortal?
Right. Well, when I came to Mesru, I quickly fell in love with Alessandra, who was already immortal. She had already lived through 16 generations of her first 3 children, her, at the time, husband dying. So by the time I showed up, she was pretty much dead to the idea. She wouldn't be with anybody who also was an immortal. I got the Ring of Winter, and we were able to be together after that. And when Messica became a beret, we had our family. So, being immortal was a very easy choice for me up until 98 years ago.
And that's when Messer disappeared?
Yeah.
What did you do in the meantime?
Back then and now, or...
I guess.
I mean, I've just spent the last few decades, I traveled around Chult, tried to find out where Mesrup had gone, and then I went on a 40-year binder all over the Sword Coast, and then I met Dragonbait. He pulled me out of the gutter. Thanks, DB. And I'm here.
I'm glad that was an easy choice for you. What do you do with all the time?
I walk. Chult is big, so I just see it.
And what do you do when your people you care about aren't where you left them at?
Well, like I said, go on a 40-year binder. Go to parties, drink a lot, get into fights you shouldn't. I think if I hadn't been hunted by the Harpers, by the Zentarm, and by Cult of Frost cultists, I probably would have solved world hunger by now. This, I guess.
It seems painful.
Yeah. We'll start slicing the now skinless fish in front of him.
Still watches.
Thanks, Jamie the Mime. Appreciate the follow, bud.
Chult is nice. I like Chult.
It is. You should
still
have seen
here,
it.
you can give an
or
inspiration to
spell
anybody. Put in chat and
I've
let 'em
heard
know.
a great many things. I've tried to learn about it the best I can. Word of mouth, mainly. History books are made by the conquerors and all that. But I would like to see it back where it was.
Maybe this
sorry.
is coming from a place of... he'll kind of balance his hands against the table and think. Maybe this is coming from a place of privilege. Chult, before the spell plague, was quite beautiful, but marred with civil wars, and enslavement, blood feuds, tribal conflicts, cultists.
Sounds like the Sword Ghost.
I mean, it's all the same, right? Just
New location, different people.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll be able to see a better version of it then. Maybe we both will.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So you're asking me this because you're thinking about it, right? Going through the Barado?
Yeah. It's been in my mind recently.
I went through, because I needed to understand how to control the Ring of Winter before I put it on. Since you're asking me, Soul, it's not worth it. I should have died 50 years ago. And I should have outlived my daughter. Or my daughter should have outlived me, instead of having to watch her waste away.
Yeah.
Nothing I've done has made up for that.
Soul stands there, nodding, sort of looking over the fish. I don't know if I have a choice. Not really.
He'll reach into his shirt and kind of slide his hand down, then pull it out, pet around his pockets, then walk over to Dragonbait, ruffle around his coat, and walk back to Soul with a folded piece of paper, and who'll unravel it and hold it out to Soldago.
What's this?
Are you looking at it, or are you asking him?
He'll ask him and look.
Artist doesn't say anything, but you're looking at a decently faded, decently waterlogged, then dried, wanted portrait of yourself and Alba. It's written in Common and Chulten, and it lists detailed crimes, stated that you are wanted for connections to several yada yada.
All
It
the
is
things.
essentially a bounty informing that you are wanted refugees for a war tribunal being held between Baldur's Gate and Chulten authorities.
How recent is it?
It doesn't have a date, but it looks pretty recent. It has an updated portrait and an updated description.
When did you find this?
I found it off of a Flaming Fist squad who had been patrolling the area.
Yeah. He kind of goes back to contemplating it. It's not surprising. Deserve it.
You've got a difficult choice ahead of you. But being immortal wasn't worth giving up having my family and being a father and all of those things. I've spent 100 years doing nothing, and nothing's happened.
Well,
I'll write you up a spice blend. I'm sure you know how to do the basic cooking. I'm sure you know how to do the trapping. It's really all in just how you manage the spices. Sure, it's full of food, but it isn't really full of flavor. It's
yeah,
pretty bad. With the loss of Amu, we lost how to really treat and cultivate the earth.
Do you happen to know where I could pick up a canteen set for cooking on the road?
You'd have to ask Mercenari.
I'll stop by her when I get the chance.
Yeah,
I think she's a little bit busy at the moment.
Tenzin might also be a good bet. Or
Tenzin?
Nefir, or Azaka, or really any of the Aarakocra.
I'll ask around.
Yeah, and if they don't give you one, feel free to just take it off my pack.
Okay, will do. Thank you, Artis, for, I guess... He, shakes the War Tribunal wanted poster. Do you want this back?
Sure.
He hands it back over. I'll see you around?
Yeah. I'll see you when we leave. I'll get back to work charting out the course, and you can finish up this fish.
Yes. So
Spices are held over where the torture tools used to be kept.
yes, this is a very ingenious way of making refurbishing the area, or not refurbishing. And
Well, it
yeah,
was the
this
most
is not
sterile
refurbished.
area in the monastery, so
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, could I borrow that sign for a little bit longer? I should probably show that to Alba. Make sure he knows.
sure. We'll hand it back over.
Yeah. He takes it and folds it up carefully. I'll return it to you. Don't worry, I'm not going to destroy it or anything.
Boop. Alright, I'll be seeing you, and he'll take leave.
Yep.
And as he clears out of the room, Dragonbait looks up from where he had been filing his nails, and he just releases an odd, confusing smells of lemon, bread, a little bit of sulfur, and then he raises his eyebrows at Soul in the universal gesture of, "What's up with that guy, am I right?"
Soldier shrugs. Yeah. It knows.
Koshak. Koshak.
Yes.
It is reaching about the break point where the sun is highest in the sky, and you were up on the plateau. Have any of the Aarakocra warmed up to you since the summer solstice, or is the bulk of the Kirsabal population maintaining a respectful distance from you?
I feel like there's probably been one or two Aarakocra that have warmed up, if not in a kind way, it's in a polite way. They've more embraced that Kojak knows what he's doing and understand that, yeah. Very nice working relationship.
The plateau and the garden and the farm has branched out from vegetables and fruit for flowers transplanted from Zalkare's botanical garden, for lack of a better word. There are now trestles and flowers and other things, and it smells wonderful. Mujinari and the Aarakocra, by extension, are looking at a bountiful harvest, and you are overlooking this when someone comes to talk to him.
It is I.
The Frenchiest fry.
Duvanith will walk up, having kind of just been making circles on the plateau, just sort of looking out in all the different directions, kind of getting like a full view from the top. And she'll walk up and say, Koshak, do you have a few minutes?
Kojak looks up from where he was, like, making a flower bloom a little more. Yes, I do.
All right. And she'll just sort of like cross her legs and then sort of shrink down to like sitting crisscross applesauce, like right next to him. Well, obviously we've got the trip to Mesro coming up, and planning on teleporting directly to Rosny, and well, I figured no one would have broached this topic with you, so I figured that I might. What should we be expecting when we, if that makes sense?
Insofar as what? What's he like? What's he going to do? Stuff like that?
A little bit of both. Maybe more of the second one. Personally, I think people magically appearing in front of me would be very off-putting.
Oh, for him, no, not off-putting at all.
Okay. So then, yeah. What is he like? Are there things, rules that we'll need to follow being guests?
He's he doesn't mind a little challenge as long as you're not being what's the word? What's the word? When you condescending. Don't be condescending. Or don't seem condescending.
Okay. I'll have to work on that.
You're a redhead. You're fine.
That was the other thing that I wanted to bring up. She'll just sort of.
I want to hear you say it. Come on.
It's something that's come up a lot since I've arrived in Chult.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't really quite asked why that is. I don't even necessarily know that I want to know. But what I do want to know is what it's going to mean for those interactions when we're dealing.
You and Jet will have to deal with at least. He's like counting on his fingers. 5 double entendres and innuendos in your first conversation, at least. That's being generous.
Okay. All right. Cool. Well, I appreciate the insight. I'll be sure to think on it.
Yes. Any other questions? Oh, other thing. Don't do what I do. Do not do what I do.
Devoneth will look like over Cole for a second, thinking, almost like recalling some memories or maybe some things that she's seen, and then her eyes fall back down to look at Koshak, and then goes, I don't think that's going to be a problem.
Okay, good. That's all I have to say. Did you have any other questions?
No, that was really the main thing. Because it seems a bit like he has, from what we've seen in the jug, almost a court-like style to.
You can call it a harem.
Okay, sure. But I guess what I'm saying is, you know, like you always address someone as like the Duke of, or you know, are there terms of address or anything that we need to be worried about in regards?
Kojak has to like, he pauses a moment and he's like, He genuinely seems like he has not called Rosnasi a formal title in his entire life of knowing him, and he's doing his damnedest to remember any interaction he's witnessed.
I just don't want to show up and be disrespectful, because even though I don't necessarily trust him, we need to get his trust so we can get what cubes he has.
Would Cole be able to remember, say, any like quote unquote courtly scene where Rosnasi preferred to be called by a title?
The Yuan-Ti culture doesn't lend itself well to titles. Any titles that are given are sort of off the cuff and usually focused on trying to gain that person's favor. So if you're trying to kind of suck up, you just say someone's name and then attach as many flowery words as possible. But no, Rosner doesn't have any titles.
He doesn't have any formal titles. Usually in Yuan-Ti culture, if you're trying to get on someone's good side or, suck up, you add epithets to the ending of their name.
Javanath will nod, and then we'll say, when you say, like, earn their favor and suck up, do you mean, like...
Depends on the title.
Okay. So, are you planning on doing most of the talking?
I can.
Great.
Don't be surprised if he calls on you or Jetto. I'm going to let you know this now.
Javanath will just nod slowly. Oh boy. Well, thank you, Cole. How are you doing in regards to going back?
It's going to be interesting, for sure, I think. A lot has changed since the last time I was there, so it will be interesting to see how the dynamics have changed, I guess you could say.
She'll nod and say, all right, well, if you need me for anything from now until we're done in Rosny's court, just let me know.
Of course.
And she'll stand up and...
Thank you, Divanith.
Thank you, Cole, and we'll walk off.
Cole turns to the bush he was sitting in front of. You can come out now.
Artis slowly creeps out and adjusts his jacket. Oh, that was a tough talk.
Jesus Christ.
Y'all are nasty. Just fucking pulled the Persalia moment.
Duvanith, as you're leaving the plateau, a figure is waiting at the tunnels to where it winds down. Mujinari, still in her fighting garb, is waiting there, clutching a small wooden box in her hands, like it has life-saving medicine. And she'll wave at you as you're, approaching or in her visual distance.
She'll wave and continue walking. Does it seem like she's trying to hail Duvanith?
It didn't at first, and then you hear, Duvanith! Duvanith!
She'll stop and say, yes, Mujinari?
She'll quickly cross the distance. She isn't trying to be stealthy, but she's also very carefully trying not to attract unwanted attention.
Javanath will, realizing this, will just wince every time one of her feet hits the ground. Like,
she's fucking loud. It's unbelievable. Her feet like slop. She's got horrible flat feet. It's the worst. She'll stop in front of Devon. Regarding the earlier conversation and regarding what my mother had told you, I'm not going to speak on it very much because I know what it's like. But if you wanted, the monastery has a room where we keep places to dedicate to her dead. And she'll extend the small wooden box. I made this for your father. You don't have to put anything inside of it, but...
Thank you.
Yeah, I thought you would... She's kind of like talking to the air next to Devonith. She'll go to say something, stop herself, turn to leave, then like turn back towards Devonith, then she'll turn to leave, she'll turn back. So the group, the wastrels, the 4 of you, 5 of you artists, you'll be leaving soon. Asro, and then Omu to end the curse.
Hopefully, if everything goes well.
And you won't be coming back to Kirsabal.
Devana sort of like cocks her head and says, "Honestly, I'm not sure. I don't know what's going to happen."
Tonight, starting an hour after dinner, I'm going to be up on the plateau. Not a lot of people are going to be there, but I am. She kind of rock back on her heels and look forward. If you want to know what Tuwep means to me, I'd be more than willing to tell you. But if you aren't interested and you aren't... She'll rock back on her heels again. Interested in me, don't show up, and I won't bring it up. I won't mention it. I won't call you Tua again. I'll return the things that you've given me, and that's all.
Devonith will sort of nod and say, okay.
Thank you, Devonith. And she'll step back, give a sort of bobbled bow, and leave at a breakneck speed.
Devonith will walk back down to the like little house, the bunk room area, and will sort of sit on her cot, and will like think for a while, and then will eventually sort of take the little box and pop it open, and will take one of her daggers and actually take it and draw a line in the middle of the box. And she'll take one of her most ratchet arrows, like the one that's almost beyond saving, and will sort of just snap the arrow shaft and tuck onto one side of the line the arrow, and then off of her dagger that was one of her original daggers that she started the campaign with, will sort of just pick with her nail at the leather cord that's sort of wrapped around the grip, and will eventually sort of loosen it up, and will take the leather cord and put it on the other side of the line, shut the box, and will leave it be for the time. Muted.
The day is daunting. It gets overwhelmingly hot the higher the sun passes through, and when it starts to sort of begin its descent, it just remains as hot as it has. Over the next hours, you start to learn bits and pieces of what's happening around Kirsabal. Some of the Terrafolk have adjusted nauseatingly quick to living in Kirsabal, surprised by how communal and tight the information is shared. And some of the Terrafolk will stop by with a very morbid humor, telling the wastrels how daunting they were, explaining that the piranhas out of the river definitely make for much better meals than what they had been used to. Their way of expressing thankfulness for something you're not sure. But dinner arrives. And that is where we are going to take a 5-minute break.
All right. We'll be right back, all. Give us a few minutes.
guys, and welcome back to the Dice and Dynamics Romance Publishing Company, where the group of editors are undergoing a time crunch to get out their latest hit in a long series. Dinner is here. The dinner table in Kirstabal is packed. Missionary, unfortunately, like most of the times, has not been able to join you, but Artis, Eku, Yoka, even Azek stops by to send a delivering of watered-down tej. But there's more baked fish, this time the skin and head removed. The sliced up and sort of splayed open and piled with juvenile potatoes that have been roasted and a variety of other hearty meals. There are barely any spices, and Artis explains that they had made this especially for you guys. They weren't sure if your stomachs could handle anything too rich. We'll leave it at that, but Eku will sort of lean in and say about traveling in the jungle, not that you all couldn't handle salt and pepper.
Sol looks very proud of himself. He definitely helped out.
You did not.
Oh, I didn't. Rip. Okay.
You're allowed to cook for yourself, but not use the kitchen for the... It would have been a long-winded explanation about attempted poisonings and so on, so on,
Yeah.
so on and so forth.
Sol looks disappointed he was not able to help, but he's still looking forward to this.
Yoka is wearing new clothes. He is wearing all yellow and has yellow paint on his forehead in a... I don't know how to explain it, like a rainbow on a horizon, like a sea sideways. You guys know what I mean, right?
Like an arch, almost.
Yes! Thank you. And an arch of yellow paint over his forehead. He looks exceptionally giddy as he gets into a rudimentary booster seat and digs into his plate.
I love him.
You look nice, Yoka.
He'll beam and say thank you and go back to eating.
Oh, Eku, I wanted to ask you something about some heavy topic. So if you prefer to do it later, we can.
We're in Chult. I used to deliver news about dead children over dinner. What is it?
While we were at the Firefinger, we recovered a multitude of braids off of the Terrafolk King, and we weren't sure how to properly handle those.
I mean, throw them away.
There
We'll
isn't
burn
any.
them. Take off the beads, throw the beads away, and then burn the hair.
Okay. There isn't anything ritual, royal, kind of deal?
Not really. I mean,
Okay.
the hair while it's on the head is ceremonial and kept in high regard, but once it's gone from the body, it's gone from the body. It might be best if, I did it.
Mm-hmm.
Or we could do it together. But I mean, there isn't really any ceremonial attachment.
If you're willing to let me be there for it, I would appreciate that.
Nice. Don't give it any more importance than it is. I think the bead keepers would be more offended by someone treating it like it's important, if that makes sense.
No, I understand. I just want to see it through. Yeah, does that make sense?
It does. Very honorable. she'll go back to eating.
So how's everyone's day? Fruitful?
Good.
Uneventful.
Saw
I
spent
had
a lot of time up top, which was nice.
I actually had a fun time.
That's good. Figure we're going to be in. It's going to be one of our last couple days here in Kirsabal until everything's sorted out.
Yep.
We'll probably be back.
Oh. Soul,
Hopefully.
when we're done with dinner, can I grab your ear for a second?
Yes, of course.
She'll just go back to her food.
Mm-hmm.
Echo will brace her elbows on the table and start speaking, not particularly with, like, grabbing anybody's attention. When we get to Mesra, I'm going to be leaving. And, little Yoka here is going to stay behind at Kirsball.
Of course.
We should make arrangements to make sure that you can receive your payment out of our account at Port Nightzar.
Sounds good. Yeah, that should be doable. So the dog, you have a bank account, right? In Port Nightzar?
Would he? Like, I mean, if he's like a part of the society there, like, I don't know how common bank accounts are.
Not really.
But it's Soul.
You would probably...
I kind of assumed it was a credit system, because I know that we have money that we did not spend that's floating around in Port Nightzar.
Yeah.
The
Like,
Air
it's-
Coker.
Go on.
Uh-oh.
What's up?
My screen froze for me, so if something happened, I missed it.
No, it was them. It was both of them froze.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Like, I remember us having, like, 1,200 gold piece credit or something like that we didn't really use much of. I'm not sure who's managing that or who the Aarakocra
Probably
set it up
Shaga.
with. Maybe.
Well, the merchant princes don't enjoy being in debt, so I imagine they're keeping an eye on it.
So I'll
We just have-
contact Merchant Prince Strago concerning my payment?
We might have to talk to Mejranare with where the money is. I'm not sure exactly.
It was mainly jewels that we sent over, I believe. So who's ever in charge of jewels now that Xanthi is retired? Who I would imagine that would be Sol, not Chago. So we can always just send a sending to him, I believe, right, Jet?
Yes. Yep.
Is that going to be an issue?
No, not at all. Jet is definitely not looking at Tyrion right now because he hasn't had the conversation yet.
All right. As long as it's not an issue, I don't think it should be an issue.
Probably not.
Do any of you have anything else left to discuss at dinner?
Nope.
Not at the
Devon-
moment, at least.
Devon just wants to grab Soul for a second for like a single question.
Dinner passes, and people are starting to relax down. Tyrion is sitting with Artis, and the two of them are sort of going over their repertoire of instruments. Eku's talking with Yoka. It's a pleasant atmosphere when you get Solidago's attention.
Soul.
Mm.
Just for a second.
Yes, of course. So we'll stand and go to join you.
she'll pull him to somewhere where there isn't much in the way of like folks around, and she'll lean in and say, I've been around Neverwinter Court for a really long time. What type of court is a harem?
Oh, a harem, you say?
Yeah. That's
Um,
that's what Cole said to call Rosny's court.
Okay. I'm.
I've never heard of it.
I'm. Wow. Okay. So a harem. I'm not the most well versed in such tropes myself. I don't
Do you
really.
think Jet might know? His family
No.
noble.
I don't think. No, he's very innocent too. A.
Have you seen the books he's read?
A harem is a type of situation in which there is the one person of power and a multiple courtesans that might offer advice, quality time. It is very much like yeah, it's a person of power and his multiple lovers, basically.
Oh.
Yes, so it's not
That's-
really a court, really. It's more of a.
Oh. Got it. Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Soul.
No problem. Is everything all right? Wait, Fish, what do you have on your face? Oh, wait, hold it. It's just her camera's freaking out. Okay.
No, that was it. Fine. That's embarrassing. Um.
Um,
Have a good night, Soul.
no problem. It's all right if you don't know things.
No, I know. It's fine. I just figured it was some system of government or something.
No,
She'll shake her head.
no, it isn't. Let me know if you have any more questions.
I'll do that. And she leaves.
All right. And then also, Fish, your camera's freaking out a little bit weirdly, like your swatches of yellow.
She looks fine to me.
Yeah, it's fine
Might
for
be on
me.
your end.
That's weird because it's only Fish.
Drop and reconnect, maybe? I don't know.
I don't know. It doesn't matter that much. Sorry, I just saw it now. But that's it. So we'll go and find Alba, but that can be a conversation for a different day.
The day begins to wind down. It is now beginning to edge on nighttime, and Tyrion has found Jet in wherever Jet is. Where is Jet?
If it's getting near nighttime, he's probably in his room, just like reading Tyrion's book again.
Tyrion is starting to sort of undress and switch into his night clothes, and he'll turn around in the chair. I only told her because I knew that she wasn't going to do anything, right?
Yes. But that's not the point. It's already over and you still told her.
Well, yeah. I mean, I had to tell her the whole truth, Jet.
I understand, but you understand the reason why we didn't want to before we got there.
Yeah, but that's why I told her after, when we got back.
I understand that you care for her. She told me that you are now the jester of Kirsa Ball.
I asked her not to tell you.
Weird.
Yeah, weird.
I feel like that's karma, love.
Yeah, I think it was too.
You know I'm not mad at you, right?
You seemed a little mad at me.
At the time, yes. But I had a conversation with her. She wasn't upset, she just doesn't know how to talk to people. And everything that's about to happen, I don't see a point in being upset with you.
Tyrion won't say much, but he'll nod with a stiff upper lip, and when he drags himself into bed and holds you against his chest, he has an iron grip, and he rests his chin on the top of your head and hums.
You know I'm coming back, right? And
I don't really know that.
He's saying it like mumbling into his chest.
He'll mumble, and I don't know that back, but he won't say anything after that.
I have a stubborn Earth Genasi brother, sarcastic Water Genasi brother, and a headstrong, powerful Fire Genasi brother that has taught me that fuck the evil shit, it'll be done. You are what matter to me.
He'll come his fingers through Jet's hair, and he won't say anything after that regarding what's going to happen, but he does tell a story about his time in the brief interim when he was at the Neverwinter Court. And we'll try to talk Jet into sleep, just sharing all of the stories he has as an art thief and just from his travels and so on.
Jet will try his best to stay awake, but Tyrion obviously knowing how to make him fall asleep, Jet passes out. It's not like that. There's a rule here.
So you've reached a point in your relationship with Alba where the two of you don't need to talk that much. The spoken word is good, but Alba will invite you for a brief 30-second waltz to the gramophone. Do you accept?
Absolutely.
You dance. It's clumsy and it's difficult. Neither of you were ever great entertainers. You have leagues ahead of him in skill. He confesses that every time he had to take noble dance training, he would pretend to break his leg or get sick. And it shows. He steps on your feet a lot.
Sol, having danced with Alba before, knows all this. And he loves it anyways. Despite all that, you're still my favorite dance partner.
Alba will laugh into your chest and leave it at that. Koshak. Your bed is small. You receive an invitation to make it feel even smaller.
He accepts the invitation.
Wonderful. It's nice. It's a good feeling to have back. An hour after dinner passes. Everyone has retired more or less to seclude themselves to digest the food and the conversations that have been held over the day. Divanis, what are you doing?
She is going up to the top of Kirsabal.
Really quick, I'm so glad I had that free space on this bingo card.
That's really good.
Just so you know, my free space is fish mutes to have emotions TM.
Okay, give me a second. All right. So you're making your way to the plateau?
Yep.
Awesome. Divanis, as you walk up and break out of the tunnel and onto the plateau, you can see that it's washed in dark colors. There's no sunsets and there's no sunrises in Kirsabal. There's no golden auburn streaks and no hazy violet blending. There's no horizon, only ever night or day. There's no sun, and and the moon right now is making a shaky appearance among the clouds choking up the sky. But there's stars, multitudes of them, night blue pockmarked with white gold. You can hear summer. There's bees like night watchmen making the rounds, and turkeys gathered in some distant alcove, making the sounds, corralling what young they have remaining and resting in for the night. A bird whoops the last song. Spotting Mujinari is easy. She's deliberately placed herself somewhere where when the tunnel opens you'd be able to spot her. Her back is to you. She's swept up in grayscale, courtesy of your dark vision and the dark, inky night. And she's sitting on a blanket, stretched out, large enough for two. She's framed by clumsy trellises, choked with flowering orchids, and her long hair is swept back and pulling behind her, ribbons braided throughout. You can just catch the flicker of a candle in front of her. It smells like summer. It smells like honey and jasmine, and Missionary's back is to you.
Duvanith will just go and sit down on the unoccupied portion of said blanket.
As you sit down, Missionary gives a start, but calms down just as quickly as when she sees it's you. The candle is held on a brass chamber stick, and it's situated neatly in front of her. It isn't giving much light, but it is passing color over the both of you. And you can see that she's wearing a long golden silk dress, sort of clouding around at her feet, accented with whatever jade jewelry she has. You can see that the ribbons in her hair are red and silk made out of the robes that you had given to her. On her waist is a familiar belt and the dagger you had given to her. She's fiddling with an arrow in her hand and looks almost bashful when you sit down.
Hey.
Hey.
It's a nice night for the most part. Kind of cloudy though.
Yeah, it really puts a damper on the whole, stargazing thing.
Yeah. True.
Was the walk here nice?
Yeah. I mean, the same it was this morning.
It's busy now in Kirsabal. Did you see the way Jet looked when he was talking with Razan?
I did.
He turned. I didn't know he could turn that shade of blue.
Was pretty funny.
Yeah, it was. I kind of wish we had an artist here so I could record it and frame it up somewhere where every time Jet went to talk with me, he'd have to look at it.
That's proper Neverwinter pettiness.
Yeah?
Yeah.
There is a story Salkuri told me. A nobleman in the Omuan court had divorced one of his concubines and taken up another one. And the one he had dismissed found herself with Zalkure, and they had taken to talking. And Zalkure was like, if you could have anything, what would it be? Just name it and I'll do it for you. And so the concubine told her, well, I want you to take these sandals and I want you to nail them above the throne. And so Zalkure was like, you want me to pierce gold for you? And the concubine was like, yes, you said anything. So she did. She had the sandals nailed up, and so when the nobleman came to talk, all he could see was the gift he had given her behind the throne, and it was a huge slap in the face.
Interesting. That's a fun court story. What role does a concubine serve in a court?
Well, so I guess. Well, are you talking like Calimport Court, Omuan Court? Say that one more time.
Omuan.
So, well, in Omu, the ruler isn't allowed to marry. So harems were kept, and that was sort of how we did our political arrangements. I don't know how it is for the other cultures, but they had a few bit of freedom. They're mostly there for maintaining alliances, bridging the gap between the other tribes and the court.
So harem is a system of government? Never mind.
Sure.
Never mind.
No. I don't think it's a system of government. I think it's a part of the government. I think they play a vital role in maintaining the. I think she'll turn more full body to Devanith as she's talking, leaning back on one hand. So if you're asking me, I think that the harem in Omu replaces the household staff, sort of maintaining a more direct control, where the queen has more influence and control. It's a lot harder for a person in a harem to act against their ruler if there's, attachments going on.
Oh, got it.
She'll tug her dress down her legs, even though it doesn't need to be done. And she's looking dead at, like, Duvanith's ears or neck or somewhere in the vicinity of her face, but not at her face.
So, stars notwithstanding, Tua,
Yes. Oh, fuck. All right. So stargazing is one of the things that I, as an Amulan Koshkal, I'm expected to maintain. But it's the only hobby that I enjoyed of my own volition. It was the only thing that a Shara could really, you can't control someone's stargazing. Anyways, so the Toral night sky is constantly torn apart. There's all the fighting, so the spell plague, the time of troubles, and the stars just kind of get torn up and replaced every season. So astral navigation is incredibly difficult. I think 1,000 or so years ago, I know it was during my namesake's reign, they discovered a constellation that hung directly above Omu that never moved and managed to persist despite everything. And they called it Tua. It doesn't mean anything, and if it did mean anything, it's lost to me. But if you know where the constellation Tua is, you know where Amu is, and you can never get lost.
Devadath will look up. It's
You want to know where it is?
Yes. It would certainly be helpful. Most of the navigation I've figured out during my time in the jungle has just been kind of reading the landlines, if that makes sense.
I think
Astral
so.
navigation is impossible.
Well, it's one of the best ways to get across the Chilton jungle. It's why I never got lost whenever I was allowed to meander around, because the land can shift so suddenly. But it's 4 stars and a sort of prong formation. I can give you a chart. It's a little outdated, but like I said, the stars never change. So
She'll sort of nod and just look up, like hoping as though the sky will clear.
do you want me to clear the sky?
She'll sort of shake her head. What?
Mantle of the Sun Queen. I can clear the sky for you if you want.
Aww.
Is that dangerous?
No, I don't think so.
Devadath will shrug then and say, "Well, sure. Let's see it."
All right. Give me 30 minutes, and I'll be right back.
Devadath will nod, just sort of chill.
She'll slowly climb to her feet, and then she'll kind of get back down onto Duvana's level. Are you gonna be here when I get back?
I mean, I don't really have anywhere else to go.
You could go back to bed.
I only need 4 hours of sleep.
You could get... Well, I mean, I know you can sleep.
Yeah, I haven't really done that since being out in the jungle, so I'll be here.
Okay. She'll get up. She'll walk backwards on her feet, and you can hear her move and then stop, and her voice is a little bit more distant. Any other reason that you're still going to be here when I get back?
She'll shrug and say, "Want to see the constellation?"
Nice. And she'll take her leave. 30 minutes go by. Do you do anything?
I mean, she won't sit for the full 30 minutes. She'll probably do a lot of pacing. She did wear her complete equipment belt up here because she's that way. So she'll like take out one of her knives and like toss it to herself and just like bide time with nonsense. She doesn't do anything specific.
Missionary will return 30 minutes later on the dot, wearing the gold-mantled headdress, the feathers trailing behind her. It looks good. It fits her head well. It naturally fits her. But the way she's carrying herself, it seems to be like how someone would wear a hat. Just very casual, despite its regalness. She'll walk over. Is Devana standing?
She is, yeah.
Okay. So I've attuned. I didn't die, which is very good. There was a chance that I could have.
Okay. I asked if it was dangerous. You could have said yes.
Well, I could die every day. The ledges in Kirsabal are pretty steep, and I didn't bring the candle with me.
Right. Can't see in the dark.
Yep. What's that like anyway? Is it in grayscale?
Kind of.
Or
Sometimes things have like thematic colors.
thematic colors? Okay. So you just want a clear sky?
Yeah, so we can see the stars.
Okay. Are you gonna laugh at me?
Why would I laugh at you?
I don't know. I just kind of think you're going to laugh at me. I don't know for what, but
I'm sure it'll be fine.
she'll... Okay. She'll extend her arms to the sky and just kind of spread her hands wide and slowly and deliberately move them. And as she's doing that, there seems to be a moment where the magic takes hold. Her posture becomes more rigid, and there's a certain control and learnedness to the way she moves. And she'll bring her arms flat alongside her body, kind of flex out her fingers and squeeze them back, and look down at Devanath and give a wide smile.
She'll just sort of motion upwards and extend her arms open a little bit in acknowledgement.
It is still cloudy. I think it takes 10 to 20 business minutes.
Oh, well, that's fine. It'll clear. It'll be exciting when it does.
Yeah, unless we miss it.
Oh, does it like
What do you
fix
mean?
itself? Does it fix itself eventually? Like, is it like elastic band?
I've never seen an elastic band.
Oh, they're like sort of these rubbery. She like tries to explain. Like they expand and contract. They're little loops.
Okay.
Yeah, so they always bounce back to a smaller size.
Okay.
So I'm wondering if the weather, once it clears, will eventually bounce back.
That makes sense. No, I don't... I'll be honest, I'm not sure. I would ask Zelkuri, but she's, weird.
Yeah. So if the constellation never helps you never get lost, why? I've only recently gotten very good at jungle navigation. Very recent. Why would you call me that?
I was sort of hoping you would get the meaning. Shoot. I guess it's. I mean, it's a whole thing. Oh, look, the sky's clearing. She'll look up. The clouds definitely aren't clearing. She'll take a second and start talking to the side of Duvaneth. I guess, I don't know. I felt like when you were near, it felt like I was in control, not in a power dynamic way, but more assured. And that's how the constellation Tubub made me felt.
Duvaneth will sort of nod and will walk over to where the candle is on the ground and will pick it up and like blow it out and snuff the wick, and then we'll walk over to Koshkal. Look up one more time to see what the state of the sky is.
Okay. She's obviously trying to look around for your face, but can't quite see it. And she'll rest a hand on the handle of her dagger and look up at the state of the sky.
Is it still cloudy, or?
It's beginning to part. The clouds are taking their time migrating out.
Duvaneth will extend her hand palm up at Koshkal.
The clouds are starting to part. They're migrating. Are you doing something in front of me?
Duvaneth will extend her hand and say, You can show me the constellation when I get back.
She'll take your hand.
Duvaneth will begin leading her down off the plateau and to the bunkhouse area.
Missionary follows diligently. Why are we going back here?
Duvaneth will just kind of like not say anything, but kind of wave like, come on.
Okay, she keeps following, and she cycles through excitement, worry, concern, but seems to be landing on excitement more than not.
When they arrive at the sort of bunkhouse area, is anybody in the central common area?
No.
No.
So Cole isn't there, but is anybody else there?
We're acting out exactly how it sounds when they get down there.
Kieran's just hanging out in the living room, just chilling, reading a book.
Okay, well, is there no one, Fish?
Nah. Everyone has seemed to clear off. Eku might be there, sleeping in the hammock.
Duvaneth will kind of like glare in her direction, and will then mumble something under her breath, and will release Koshkal's hand, and will go over to the gramophone.
You go over to the.
What's
go
up?
over to the gramophone.
And she'll make sure it's like cranked up, and will drop the needle on the gramophone.
All right. A collection of old Neverwinter songs begin to play.
What's the speed? Like fast, medium, slow?
It's fast drinking songs.
She immediately pulls the fucking needle up and like pulls the cylinder off of it, and then like will look through like the little cabinet to like try to find one that has like pips on it that look as though they would be slower.
You kind of start to cycle through them, and you could hear Missionary stifle some of her laughter. But you'll eventually find one of the slower songs.
Okay. She will drop the needle on that, and when she starts hearing it, she will then go over and will stand in the position for a couple's dance, but not say anything.
Are you trying to wake them up?
Duvaneth will say, "Just come dance with me."
Give me a moment.
And that's another one off my bingo card.
I
Like she
can't.
leaves the scene.
I can't find my pen. This sucks. I need it.
Oh, no. That poor cat. Oh my goodness.
You're ruining the moment. Seal just got a picture of a fish freaking out.
It'll take Missionary a beat to understand what Duvaneth is saying, but when it dawns across her, all pretenses just pop like a balloon, and there's this overwhelming expression of just delight, and she'll not walk or glide forward, she hops forward, almost skips, and takes Duvaneth's hands.
Duvaneth will ensure that her hand is in the leading position, and then the literal second that Koshkal comes within like range of her, she will pop up on her toes to avoid getting her feet stepped on, and will then lead in the dance until the end of the gramophone's drum.
Missionary will let the song play out, and she is not the best dancer.
I know.
She spends the bulk of it sort of looking at Duvaneth's face and looking at their feet, and when she looks down and she sees Duvaneth on her toes, you can see the cycle of thoughts pass through, and when it dawns on her what Duvaneth is doing, she lets out this like short, full-bellied laugh, and will finish the rest of the dance with her face in Duvaneth's shoulder.
When the song is sort of coming to sort of a close, is wrapping up, Duvaneth will make a very conceited effort to sort of do the toss out and spin in type deal, and when she does that, the closer to the end of the song it is, you can see that Duvaneth's eyes are getting sort of very watery and misty. And then when the song concludes and she sort of spins her back in. She gives Koshkal a hug, and then sort of will extend her back out to the dancing as the gramophone winds to a close.
It winds to a close. It gives a skip, and the song starts again. But Missionary has kept Devana's hands in hers, and her expression will wind down, and to something a little unreadable. And she'll take a few steps forward, keep Devana's left hand in hers, but separate their right hands, and kind of lean in, not quite touching her, not quite touching the foreheads together, but very, very gently say, "Do you need to be alone, Devanath?"
Devanath will shake her head and say, "No, it's fine." How close are we to the gramophone?
About 10 feet.
Devanath will make a conceited effort to slowly work her way towards the gramophone to lift the needle again.
Missionary moves with you. You lift the needle.
Devanath will sort of nod her head and say, "That was nice. And you'll have to show me the constellation next time."
Missionary adjusts, and she places her feet apart in the more authoritative position that she's used to, holding her ground. All this time, the only people I had seen who had been in love was my mother, and it just kind of disabled her. So I grew up thinking that the feeling was only good because, that it wasn't good. She, and then they died, and Ashara died, and I was alone, and I poured you coffee. And she'll take a second, and she'll kind of pop her mouth, and then and look at Devana's face, trying her best to kind of hold her eyes, and she has impossibly dark eyes and a stubbornly shaped mouth as she talks. I think you're good, Devanath. I think you're good for Kirsabal. I think you're good for Chult. I think you're wonderful, and I think you've been good for me. If you gave me time, I could be good for you too, and I think that you would be good for Omu if it ever returns. And she'll just kind of nod.
Devanath will say, thank you, and will sort of blink kind of heavily again, her eyes kind of misty, and she'll say, I really do appreciate that, and it means a lot, but princesses shouldn't have matchmakers, but that's what the jungle's been for you. I know what it's like to live behind castle walls. Courts, they're small, they're controlling. They keep you down, and I'd encourage you to definitely step out of yours before you give your heart to anyone.
Her mouth begins to wobble, but her eyes don't mist. It's fair advice.
Divanath will nod.
She'll step forward and embrace Duvanath again.
Divanath will embrace her back and give her like a squeeze.
Missionary gives tight hugs, the kind of hug where you think the person is going to wrap their arms around you twice. And she seems fond of burying her face in Duvanath's shoulder. And you can feel her shoulders rise once, twice, and when she pulls away, she is not quite crying, but on the cusp of it. I was going to ask you, Shago had invited me to stay in Port Nyanzaru and make an appearance. Do you think that's a good idea?
I do.
How long am I supposed to, a year, 2 years?
Divanath will shrug her shoulders and say, I don't know. I'm new to this too. I once pressured Shago to keep with his duty instead of pursuing love, and I think it was a mistake. I think it's up to each person to figure out how best to manage that balance in that journey for themselves.
How do you feel about me?
You're wonderful. You're one of the only things that's made this entire trip possible or bearable.
I don't have to sleep either. But I wouldn't mind trying tonight if you wanted to take the other side of my bed. It's large.
Divanath will sort of say, really lay when I sleep.
I have a nice chair.
That'll work. Just can you give me 10 or so minutes?
Yeah, Yeah, go for it.
She'll nod, and I know the spot, and Divanath will go back to her room and shut the door.
The door is shut. Nobody's inside. There are no traps.
Divanath will take out her 2 pistols and will put them on the bed, and will sort of roll her fingers and will say, okay, Tyrion said that you could cast Sending. So, oh boy. How did... And she'll like put her hands on them and we'll be like, send. And we'll attempt to use the sending spell from the 2 pistols.
Okay. It'll take a bit of working, but you can kind of figure out that the trigger words are "I'm telling," followed by the name and the message.
Okay. And she'll say, well, that's weird. Oh, I don't like that. And she'll say, put her hand on one of the pistols and say, I'm telling Carolina, it's Duvaneth. I'm sorry. I had to just inadvertently do for someone what you inadvertently did for me. Thank you. I know it was painful. And she'll remove her hand off of the pistols, put them back into her holsters, and will go find Missionary's chair.
Cool. Missionary is in her room. The door is open. She's changed into a full-blown nightgown, the kind that drags on the floor, the kind that gathers at the cuff. And she's unwound all of the ribbons from her hair and is busy brushing out the bulk of it. And she lights up when she sees Duvaneth.
Duvaneth will smile back.
I'm sitting in your chair. Just give me a second to finish and I'll let you have it.
She'll nod.
You can sit on my bed.
Duvaneth will lean against the wall.
That works too. She'll go back to braiding it. She's got a sort of cluster of mirrors arranged in front of her vanity, and every time she catches Duvaneth in a corner of it, or just on the outskirts, like at the corner of her eye, she'll beam as if it's the first time she had seen Duvaneth.
Duvaneth will just continue smiling back, remain misty-eyed, hang out.
You know, when so Elita stopped by, and she recognized the dagger on my hip, and she had this thick accent. Do you know where she was from?
I don't remember. That was so long ago, and she was spending all that time with the company of the Yellow Banner.
I met them too. Very nice men.
They seemed alright.
But she recognized the dagger on my hip, and so she's like, "Oh, I recognize the dagger. Duvaneth stole it off of somebody, or stole it off of Peck." She didn't say that. She was a lot nicer about it, but I surmised.
It's true.
And oh, I have another follow-up question, but but so she went, "Oh, that's Duvaneth's. How did you come across the dagger?" And I'm like, "Well, Duvaneth gave it to me." And she's like, "Oh ho ho," and I was like, "Oh no, it wasn't like that." But then she was like, "Well, Princess, I'm sure you have many other daggers in your repertoire." And I was like, "Well, this is my nicest dagger." And she's like, "No, I've been in the armory. I've seen the daggers." And I was just kind of like, "That's how it is." Yep.
It is a nice dagger.
It is. Do you usually... Are you a thief, Duvaneth?
Sometimes. Occasionally. I haven't exactly made a career out of it like Tyrion has.
But you've totally stole things?
Yeah.
Would you steal from me?
Duvaneth will kind of shrug and say, probably. Depends on who from.
I don't think there's anybody I'd want you to steal from. I just wanted to know if you would steal from me. She'll kind of fiddle with her fingers and stand up and turn the chair for Devoneth to sit in.
She will go ahead and pop a squat and sort of bring her legs up onto the seat of the chair so she can sleep.
Missionary, for the first time in 6 to 7 years, will slide under the covers of her bed, adjust her pillow, and at first she tries to sleep on her hair, and then she has to untuck it from under her and kind of throw it around the banister of her bed and slide in to get comfortable. And she kind of goes all the way up to her neck and then sits up a little bit forward and puts her hand over it. Can you close the door?
Devoneth will go over and will get up off the seat and close the door. Go sit back.
You close the door.
She'll go sit back down.
Missionary, again, more prone to silence than doing anything, will look at Devoneth, and this time observing her features, obviously doing her best to memorize everything. And then she'll sit up and swing her legs over the bed, get out, walk over to Devoneth, and press a kiss gently on her cheek.
Devoneth will go ahead and grab her nightgown and redirect that kiss. Will kiss her and then say, "Good night, princess." Let go.
Kissing someone is a weird, naked feeling, but kissing Missionary is nice. She exfoliates and has an unbearably soft mouth, and you're kissing her smile more than you're kissing anything else, and as you're holding her nightgown, she's twisting the fabric of your shirt at your hip, having grabbed onto it, and just kind of almost pulling it out of the waistline there. And she'll look back, holding Devoneth's gaze, completely unafraid of anything, and she'll say good night to and tuck herself back into bed.
Devoneth will wait until she's asleep to start trancing.
It takes a little bit for Missionary to sleep, but when she sleeps, it's like a cliff. It's just she's awake and then she's snoring.
Devoneth will lean her head back on like the wall and will trance and go to sleep.
And that is where we end tonight's session. Thank you everyone for who's gathered here today. What about that session?
That's been the biggest group of people we've
God
had in
damn.
this session for a couple of weeks now.
How many were there?
It showed about 11, and we had about 4 active talkers. 4 to
Oh,
5
that's
active talkers
awesome.
tonight.
Hi guys.
People just want the gay, man. Romance.
I'm
No,
gonna give
I
the gays
literally-
everything they want.
Yeah, and Jason put the screenshot in our chat. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we're off on the next adventure after this. Holy shit.
Yep.
Thanks.
Next week is Christmas. We're not doing anything for that, right?
Yeah, no.
Oh, right.
Next week we have off. We're not doing anything. We're probably gonna just do stuff, play games for us. So next week's off. Then we have New Year's Eve. I don't think we're really doing anything.
I don't mind doing something, but I mean,
Is it the
That's also New Year's
31st or
Eve.
is it the 1st? Oh no, it's the 1st. So we probably
So it's
could
New
do
Year's
something.
Day, actually.
Yeah. So we
so-
should.
I'm fine doing something New Year's Day.
I don't know. It's probably going to be a travel session or something, so we can keep it short. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's going
We'll
to be
see.
Solming Mateo.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll play by year. But thank you all who came out.
Thank you so much.
Interesting fucking
Yes.
session.
Thank you guys.
Interesting fucking session. It went almost exactly how I imagined. It did not go exactly how I imagined it, but it hit the point. It hit the big points.
Join the Discord if
can't
you want to chat
okay.
more, because we gonna be chatting.
Oh
Good night,
yeah, we
guys.
will.
Oh yeah.
All right, love you.